Hey y'all, welcome to our South Georgia garden today.
Today we're going to show you two ways of preparing plants to handle the cold weather here in South Georgia. These are plants that we purchased on the end of a year sale in late fall. One method is to plant them directly in the garden, which we've done and we'll show you later. Another method is to pot them up and bring them into a space where they won't be in the freezing temperatures.
So when we went to the plant sale at Wise Nursery, one of our local nurseries, we saw that they had some oleander plants for sale. And we'd been wanting to buy some oleanders, but since they're kind of marginally hardy in our area, we weren't sure we wanted to spend the money for them. However, since they were on sale, we thought, well, let's give it a go and see if they'll survive here. And as we were looking around, we saw several of the 7-gallon pots with nice plants, but we also saw this 3-gallon pot that seemed to be actually the same size of plant. However, nurseries sell their plants they price them by the size of the pot. So generally, a 7-gallon plant is more expensive than a 3-gallon plant.
Regardless of how long they've been in the pots.
Right. So we knew, well, this really is the same size plant as that one, but of course it was less expensive being in a 3-gallon pot.
Yes. And these are both oleanders, but they're two different varieties of oleander.
Right. So we wanted to try the different varieties, and we thought, well, we'll take this one home and pot it up anyway, because we knew we would want to pot it up to help protect it from the winter, and then we would place it in our garage to keep it out of the elements.
Right, until we're past the hard freezes, and then they can go in the ground and have plenty of time for the roots to develop over the spring and summer.
Right, so what I'm going to do today is I am going to take this oleander that's in the 3-gallon pot, and I'm going to go ahead and pot it on up to a 7-gallon nursery pot that I have saved, and prepare it to get it ready to go in the garage to be protected.
Yes.
Okay, Mark, so if you'll go ahead and come over and move the larger 7-gallon pot oleander out of our way. We've got our tarp set up so we can keep any of our good mulch and potting mix that might fall out. So we've got our potting mix, we've got our biotone, because since we're potting this up and we would like the plant to start letting its roots grow some over this winter while it's in our pot in the garage, we're going to do a little bit of biotone with it also.
Yes.
So if you'll maybe help me get this out of its pot. Yeah, it is quite root bound, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in here, but I'm going to tease off the edges of it a little bit.
Okay.
I think I might need my little hand rake for this.
Yes, I'll step over and get it.
Yeah, I'll get my gloves while you're getting that for me. And it is good whenever you're either planting a plant in the ground or in a pot to check and see how the roots are going around the plant. And as we said, since this plant looks like it really kind of needed to be potted up at the nursery anyway, we're going to tease out the roots a little bit. Doesn't look too bad though, does it?
Not too bad.
And it's nice and moist because we had kept it moist, waiting for it to get potted up.
And oleanders are listed as hardy from zones 8 through, is it 10 or 11?
Through 10.
10. And then they will grow in zone 7, but often 7B, but they'll freeze back to the ground and they have to cut them off. Sometimes in zone 8 that will happen. The roots won't die, but the top will. We're hoping that the top will live for us in our zone 8B, 9A.
Okay, turn it around a little bit. Got it?
Got it.
Okay. And we've also know that since this is really a warm season plant, especially since it's listed as from 8 to 10 zone, it's more of a warm season plant, so it's really put out more of its roots, better roots, and will grow more roots during the spring. So that's another reason that we want to keep it protected before we plant it out.
Yes.
All right, so if we'll do some of the potting soil.
Okay.
I think I've already put some in my pot right there under the biotone.
Yes, you've got some here.
Okay, can you put that around? And I'm going to push it down into the sides really good, make sure there are no air pockets down in my pot here. After we get that up about halfway, I've already measured out my biotone, so it's carefully in there.
Here's your biotone.
Mm-hmm. Putting the biotone all the way around it. And then we'll do another layer of the potting soil out of the potting soil bag.
Okay.
And this is just our general potting soil, any brand we find, many times on sale if we can, at our local hardware store or garden center. And so basically I'm doing this the same way that I would do if I were creating a planter to sit on my deck or anywhere else in the garden. It's the same concept, just potting it up to a bigger pot.
What do you think, Belinda?
I think that's pretty good.
Okay.
Okay, so it's got its new potting soil in a larger container, so those roots have room to grow a little bit over this winter season. We'll take it to our spot in the garage where we're going to keep it for the winter, and we'll water it up when it's in there, so it's not quite as heavy to manage. All right.
All right, looks like that one's done. We've got 2 more to work on, and this is the process.
Also, we found some sunshine ligustrum on sale at a local nursery, Southern Scapes Nursery. They were having their end of year half price sale. And we know we love sunshine ligustrum with their golden foliage that grow wonderfully in our full sun here. We also like them because they are a non-invasive cultivar that will not reseed into the landscape. They are wonderful pops of color.
Also on sale, we found another plant that will provide a pop of color, blush pink nandina. It only grows about 2 feet tall and 2 feet wide, but we knew it would be a great addition to this garden.
When we were shopping, we saw the firepower nandina, which we'd really been wanting to try. So let us show you why these plants were such a good deal.
Today we're planting these firepower nandinas that we found on sale at our local nursery, Southern Scapes Nursery, and they were having their sale. But we also looked in the nursery cans and saw that there were actually 2 plants in the pot. So we kind of scoured around and found nursery plants, pots that had 2 plants per pot. So it's kind of like a 2 for 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the plants and separate it so that I can plant them individually.
Yes, Belinda, it's always good to find things on sale, but if you find 2 plants in a nursery can, then that sale even goes twice as far.
All right, so it came out of the can nicely. You can see the root system is not root bound, just a nice root system. So what I'm going to do is I have my 2 plants, and I'm going to gently kind of tease them apart as much as I can, keeping as much root and soil with each side. But if some of the soil comes away, it's going to be okay because the root is more here on the top. So I'm going to just gently.
And those look like they're separating nicely.
They are separating nicely. You can see how they're coming apart there. I'm getting a good root structure with each side. Wow. All right, so here's one plant. I'm going to just put it back in my nursery can to protect it until I'm ready to plant that one. And here's the other plant. I think this is the one I'm going to go ahead and plant in this hole. Check my depth. Okay. I don't want to plant it too low here because, as we said, this is a mostly clay soil, so I don't want my the top of my root ball beneath the soil line. And this soil also, we've just had a recent rain, so the soil is nice and moist. I am going to add my biotone, especially since I really disturbed these roots by separating the plant. So I'm going to add my biotone a little generously. And then I'm going to pull my soil, my native soil, back in. And there was some good soil that came off from the nursery pot, so I'm going to put that back in too. And when we finish planting today, when we're near finishing, we will probably put a little bit of our black cow manure near the top of the plant, and then we'll put the mulch back around the top also.
So Belinda, then that'll be a top dressing of composted manure and then some wood chips on top of it.
Right. So how do you think that looks, Mark? That look pretty good?
I think that looks pretty good.
Isn't that wonderful? So now we have one plant and one more plant of our plants that are on half price, but we got two plants for one.
What a deal.
So up here in our stumpery, we have irrigation running for times when it is times of drought in the summer when it's very hot. We don't use it very often, but we use it, we check our plants and see if it's dry, and then we'll use it during that time.
Yes, Belinda, if we've gone several days without rain.
Right. And so you can see up here, it's the drip irrigation, and this is the small, what we call spaghetti irrigation that we weave in and out around our plants. So I've found a position that I want to put the Nandina, and I've moved back the mulch so that Mark can see the irrigation line so that he can be careful and not get the irrigation line caught up in his auger.
So Belinda, I'm going to aug some holes for these Nandinas, but first I want to say that I'm using Jenny's Edition, Jenny from Creekside Nursery, Jenny's Edition 5-inch auger. It's a little taller, so I can stand up a little straighter and I have to be bent over so much.
Yeah, you really like this one being that taller, would you call that a shank? Anyway, it's a taller.
Yes, it is taller, and that's Jenny's Edition. Again, Jenny from Creekside Nursery.
Right, and you only need to make a small hole here since we're going to be separating these Nandinas to get two plants out of one pot.
Yes, and even though it's a small hole, the auger does a good job of really fluffing the soil and loosening it so those roots can move out into the native soil.
Right, and that's especially important here in this stumpery because this is a place where they brought in clay soil, didn't they, to build up the area, and so it does get a little bit compacted.
Yes, Belinda, that's right. Anytime you've had a new construction and they brought in fill dirt and clay, then a lot of times it's hard packed out around that new construction, as with our barn, and you need to fluff up the soil.
Right, and that's a little unusual for us here on this property because we mostly have sandy soil. So this clay, we're enjoying learning more about planting and taking care of plants in clay.
Yes, Belinda, you can really see that clay that came up out of there.
Right, and that looks like a nice size hole, larger than the plant will be, but we're doing that to sort of fluff up the soil there and give it a nice place to grow. So our stumpery is a very naturalistic area, and we have added some shrubs such as this tea olive or sweet osmanthus, which smells great, puts out little flowers. It smells great in the fall and winter. Then we also have some Persanii juniper that are kind of like ground covers. Also, we disperse wildflower seeds here, and we have different kinds of plants that have come up from seed. Here is a Rudbeckia, a type of Rudbeckia. So they are kind of dotted around, and we thought this would be a nice place for the Nandina to be in here as an evergreen. And then when the Rudbeckia are blooming, they'll sort of encircle it. Well, Mark, that was 3 cans of the Firepower Nandina. Each one had 2 plants in it, so we separated those. So we put kind of a swoop of 3 on this side of the stumps, and we put a swoop of 3 on that side closest to you.
So that was 6 plants out of 3 nursery cans.
Right, so it was 6 plants for the price of 3 that were on sale. So that was a wonderful deal for us. And then at that same sale, we did find sunshine ligustrums. And we know we love sunshine ligustrums.
One of our favorite plants.
Yes, so we thought the Firepower Nandinas give that green with kind of pops of reddish burgundy color. So we thought these sunshine ligustrums would give that really big pop of yellow to be near them. And we have our tea olive here, so we've got our green, our red, and our yellow. And then we thought this yellow being closest to our red barn would kind of pop here in this area.
I think it does. I'm happy with it.
Right. So the Nandinas have been top dressed and watered in, so they're ready now. And you're gonna dig the holes, power plant or auger here. You're gonna dig these holes, and we'll get these sunshine ligustrums in.
Sounds good. So Belinda, we've got some Nandinas and sunshine ligustrums planted in here?
Right, here's the sunshine ligustrum, and kind of being a little closer to the barn, so it gives that pop of color at the back of this bed. And then we're coming on down. We've got 1, 2, 3, a trio of the Firepower dwarf Nandina. And then we had a blush pink dwarf Nandina from the Southern Living Plant Collection that we put out here, closer to the logs. It's a little lower. It only grows about 2 feet tall and wide, and it has the more burgundy leaves all year. So blush pink is it's very befitting, a good name for that one.
It certainly is. And then on the other side of these fat lighter stumps, we did the same thing, didn't we?
We did. We did 3 Nandinas over there of the Firepower and a sunshine ligustrum up near the top of the bed.
So they're not exactly the same the way they're planted, but they're very similar.
Right, so similar on each side of the stumps, the fat lighter stumps. And the stumps are kind of at an angle also.
Yes.
And we would like this bed to be more of a naturalistic bed. In fact, we're getting ready to put out some wildflower seeds. So that this really has a lot of wildflowers in the spring and summer.
Yes.
Yes, we call this our Barney garden. And we have this large urn here with our evergreen little gem magnolia in the middle here. So we took 2 more of the cans of the Firepower Nandina that we had gotten on sale and separated them so that it gave us 2 plants on this side of the urn and 2 plants over on that side of the urn near the watering cans. So with the 6 Nandinas that we planted on the stumpery and the 4 nandinas that we planted here. We also planted 2 back at the when we extended the bed with the azaleas. So that gave us cans of plants that had 2 in each can. We separated them, so we got 12 plants, and they were on clearance.
Yeah, so we're really stretching our bang for the buck on the plants and stretching our plants out and filling more gardens.
Yes.
We hope you enjoyed our video today as we showed you 2 different ways that we get our plants ready for the cold weather.
Yes, after finding those plants on sale in late fall, we decided that we better take good care of them so they could make it through some cold nights here in South Georgia. We planted some in the ground and we potted up some marginal ones. We'll wait for spring planting to put those out.
Yes, we've already snuggled those into our garage, the ones that can't take the cold here in South Georgia. And so those are in our garage waiting for spring weather.
Yes, and Belinda, fortunately here in South Georgia, our ground never freezes. So we can work the ground year round and plant things that are hardy year round if they're not marginal. Unlike our friends to the north who aren't able to work their ground and have maybe snow or ice, and they're just not able to do those things. Those people in colder zones, such as we like watching Teresa gardening on the West Fork, and we've seen how she's preparing some of her plants for the winter.
Right. Some people have to only keep those plants inside or in protected areas. But as we say, as long as we can dig a hole, we can plant a plant.
Yes, we can. And we do know that the majority of plants will winter over better in the ground than they will in nursery containers.
Right. So, and as you all know, I enjoy a good plant sale. And it's really fun when I find a plant that has maybe 1 or 2 plants even in that pot, so I can divide them and have more than 1 plant.
And deliver multiple plants to our gardens.
Right. That is a way to deliver multiple plants to our garden.
Yes. And we're interested to know how you prepare your gardens and your plants for winter. Do you have any special plants that you've prepared or maybe potted up and that you're getting ready for winter? So leave us some comments, or if you have questions, ask us questions. We'll respond to those as we receive them.
Well, Mark, I think it's time for some sweet tea again.
Yes, I believe it is, Belinda. Cheers from our South Georgia gardens.
Happy planting and stay warm.